Down. Let him put the countdown.
Live.
Namaste, welcome and suswagatam to our viewers of the Virat Hindustan Sangam.
Go ahead, Jagdishji.
Virat Hindustan Sangam social media channels for this program, Words of Wisdom, Gyan Ganga, which we have every Sunday at 8 p.m. with Dr. Subramaniam Swami. Today we have a very interesting topic, who owns our temples, in reference to the Thiruparakundram court order and the bigger fight of our liberation of Hindu temples. As you all know, Thiruparakundram is in the outskirts of the city of Madurai, once which was represented by Dr. Subramaniam Swami. For this important discussion, besides Dr. Subramaniam Swami, we have Dr. M.R.Venkatesh, who is a lawyer, CA, and author, and associated with many causes. And we also have Mr. T.R. Ramesh, who is a temple activist and who is the head of the Temple Worshippers Society. And both M.R. Venkatesh and T.R. Ramesh have done lot of activities and litigation and petitions on this issue. In fact, I could say that T.R. Ramesh is a walking encyclopedia as far as the temples are concerned, and especially of the Tamil Nadu temples. So without wasting much time, I thank our viewers across the globe for the support we get week after week. And as I mentioned last week, we had a pause for a few months, but now we are back every Sunday at 8 p.m. With these words, it is over to Dr. Subramaniam Swami to initiate today's discussion on this temple issue, especially with reference to Thiruparakundram, and then T.R. Ramesh and Mr. M.R.V. will join and give their views and have a discussion. Over to Dr. Swami.
See, the most important thing in this matter is, why is it that we are all the time talking about the temple matters when nobody talks about the masjids and the Christians? There's no law for them. They can go open anytime, close anytime, take the money the way they want, all this. Whereas we are constantly talking about the temple, and that too, the temple is varies from state to state. Some states have no control whatsoever. Some have extraordinary control. And consequently, we have to deal with this situation. That why are we focusing only on the temple here? Yes, if you say that after the temple we'll go after the Islamic institutions and the Christian institutions, I can understand. But the restrictions being placed only on the Hindus, this is something that I think we should begin with, as to whether we should, why are we only focusing on the Hindu issue, and that is about the temples. Then we can go on to the further issues, but all the others are being managed by their own people, and the government has no say whatsoever. And that is what I think is the most objectionable thing. That's how my starting point is going to be among the experts here to explain their view on this issue.
I would request Mr. T.R. Ramesh to further give us more light, especially in context of Thiruparakundram and other issues, and then we will hear M.R. Venkatesh. Over to you, Mr. T.R. Ramesh.
Namaste, my pranams to Dr. Swami, and my namaste to everyone here. If we are, as Dr. Swami is calling us experts, if we are, that's because we had the advantage of guidance from Dr. Swami. That's how we became experts in the temple matters. I, as well as Dr. M.R. Venkatesh. And Dr. Swami has raised a very, very valid question. Why only temples? Why they alone are under the yoke and control of the state governments. And this is something we have not at all addressed for the last 70 years. Pujya Swami Dayan Saraswati filed a case in December 2012 raising this very question, but with reference to the Religious Endowments Act of Andhra Pradesh. Now it is Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. Unfortunately, a bench of the Supreme Court decided to relegate it back to the respective high courts.
That's right.
After 13 years.
Yes.
Unheard of, but unfortunate.
Yes.
So, the question of the fundamental rights of Hindu denominations and Hindu sects administering their own religious institutions and their religious charities is getting postponed either by the government or by the courts or together. And with a Hindutva party doing nothing about it, a so-called Hindutva party. The subject being a concurrent subject, with one stroke of a pen, they can bring in a central act or an amendment to the 1920 Religious Endowments Act, by which court in Dr. Subramanian Swamy versus State of Tamil Nadu, the judgment came on January 2014 in the Chidambaram Temple judgment. The principles or the dictum of the Supreme Court in that matter.
Yes.
Where the court said the temples cannot be taken over permanently. It can be taken over only if there are proven instances of serious mismanagement. And the moment the mismanagement is cured, it should be given back to the original administrators. It's a very, very important dictum of the Supreme Court, a law laid down by the Supreme Court. Second, the same order, Supreme Court said the Hindu Religious Endowments Department of the Tamil Nadu government could not have appointed an executive officer under Section 45 because the conditions to be prescribed under that section were never prescribed.
Yes,
and if they were not prescribed and placed on the table of the assembly, approved by the assembly and notified later, there can be no powers for the commissioner to appoint temples. Today, there are about 668 temples where the executive officers are functioning. So by the law declared by the Supreme Court in Dr. Swamy's case, they should not continue there at all. If they are continuing, there are three major violations of law by three parties. One, the Tamil Nadu government. Two, by the court not recognizing this serious violation, this contempt of court. Three, the Hindus who are being mandus. They are not doing anything at all. Now, coming to Thiruparankundram issue. In 1932, the case went up to the Privy Council and the Privy Council restored the judgment of the learned subordinate judge in Madurai, who declared the entire hill belonged to the Thiruparankundram Devasthanam, or rather the Madurai Devasthanam, Madurai Meenakshi Sudareswara Devasthanam, except a very, very limited area where the Dargah was built and the steps leading to the Dargah were there. A very small portion. Otherwise, the entire hill is sink. Not only that, even the Giribidi, the streets surrounding the hill, belong to the temple. The court declared that. Now, not many know that the Thiruparankundram Subramania Swamy temple is only a sub-temple of Madurai Meenakshi Sudareswara temple. So, in 1983, the TNHRNC department, which is present in many Hindu temples only by a fraud on the statute, they applied to the Madras High Court saying that the executive officer of Madurai Meenakshi Sundareswara temple is not able to manage this temple as well as the Thiruparankundram temple. So you want to make Thiruparankundram's temple a separate one with a separate executive officer. The court, believing it to be true, allowed the department to take the temple separately and appoint an executive officer. What HRC department did not tell the court is there is no executive officer for Meenakshi Sundareswara temple in the first place. bench of the Madras High Court on 13/12/1951. And the appeal made by the then Madras government against that order was dismissed by a constitutional court. So, Meenakshi Sundareswar temple, another 40 temples like Payani, Tiruchendur, Kalanagar temple, Tiruvannamalai temple, the executive officer should have gone from the temple and given the administration back to the trustees. Till date, they have not done it. And my case on that is pending from 2020. In 2020, a learned single judge who also gave the judgment in Thiruparankundram issue on 1st December 2025, he declared the presence of an executive officer in Payani temple illegal. Still, the executive officer has not gone out of the temple. Because Hindus really do not know what to do even if they get a judgment. I filed a contempt. They said, no, the matter is pending before a division bench, and the division bench is yet to hear the matter. We are troubled by our politicians, by the courts, by the indifferent attitude of the Hindus. Else, anywhere you see there is only illegality. You don't see an executive officer appointment order, or you see a contempt of the court. These are the three things that are going on. I would like Mr. M.R.Venkatesh to say something because he argued the case and got the judgment from the learned single judge, Justice C.R. Swaminathan. We would like to hear it from him.
Over to MRV. MRV.
Thank you.
I know you are traveling in
Thank
a
you.
vehicle after arrival. Please take this forward.
Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm just now landed into Chennai and my flight was delayed by almost an hour. So my apologies to everybody for doing this from a car. Now, Thiruparankundram, as Ramesh said, it's a very, very interesting case where we have been fighting for proving that it is our own temple. Unlike Ram Janmabhoomi, which got destroyed, Thiruparakundram is not destroyed. But even then, there is some fear that this is not our temple. This we cannot go and light our lamp. This we cannot go and do our daily pujas. Look at the level to which we have been pushed into in socialist, secular, democratic Republic of India. I suddenly seem to fear as to what is the state of Hindus in Tamil Nadu. This is a question that we need to ask, and that is what is the, I would say, bordering on lament. Ramesh has put it across as to why this is happening repeatedly. In 1925, the local court in Madurai has held it very clearly that this temple is Lord Shiva himself. This hill is Lord Shiva himself. And there is a temple of Lord Murugan inside that hill, which has been well understood. Matters, as Ramesh said, went up to Privy Council. Privy Council said, yes, this temple, this hill, everything goes to the Hindus. One out of 179 acres, 50 cents or thereabouts goes to the Muslims. Just 50 cents. But even then, the Muslims seem to have complete ingress to the Dargah. And as I read that letter of Dr. Swami to the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Mr. Stalin, he says very clearly that Dargah is not a place of worship. It is definitely not a place of worship of the Mohammedans. And very rightly, the only way I see it possible is that there must be an amicable, mutually acceptable way of shifting the Dargah out of the Thiruparakundram hill. That is the only way forward, and no other thing is going to allow, because the intransigence of the Mohammedan side, the Waqaf side went to this extent that even where the Deepatun is located, it is their property. This is despite the Privy Council order, which everybody accepts. Now, coming to the Deepatun, I want to give some wonderful snippets of what happened in the court. When we first made a petition, when the petitioner, Mr. Ram Ravi Kumar, a very pious Hindu, made this petition to the executive officer, he did not know the existence of a Deepatun, or this was called a Deepatun. he relied on a 1996 judgment of a single judge of Madras High Court. And he said, I would like to light the lamp as directed by the 1996 judgment, which allowed lighting of the lamp 15 meters, 15 meters away from the dargah. So he said, choose a spot and let me know where I can go and file or light my lamp. The administration panicked and the Deepatun was covered. They put a burqa on top of the Deepatun. The Deepatun was covered head to toe. And immediately we went up and asked, what is this? Why are you covering this? The answer was, this is a Deepatun. And that is why we are covering. That is how we discovered the Deepatun. And in the court, Justice Swaminathan asked the HRNC lawyers, you have covered something with sackcloth. Tell me, what is this? They said, sir, this is Deepatun, sir. But then they realized their folly. And then they said, no, this is not Deepatun. Show me the proof that Deepatun was there. Lord Murugan is supposed to have two wives. There are only one Deepatun here. Where is the other one for the other wife? All sorts of nonsense arguments were presented in the court. It would make one's blood boil to see this type of ridiculous arguments. In fact, in 1925, and this is a very important thing that I pose to everybody. The British were actually adjudicating. The fight was between the Mohammedans and the Hindus. Circa 2025, the police, the state administration, the local media, the ruling party, the district collector, the SP, the inspector, everybody seems to be siding with the Dargah people. And somehow it looks like the Dargah is owning 179 acres of land and we are transgressors or we are trespassing into the property. That is the level to which the hostilities were there. And luckily, Justice Swaminathan's judgment was impregnable. Justice Jayachandran and Justice Ramakrishnan saw through the shenanigans of the state government and they ensured that Justice Swaminathan's judgment was completely ratified, and they have punctured all arguments of the other side. They came in droves. They hired the best of lawyers, the senior-most advocates of Madras High Court. Some even came from Delhi and presented the arguments. The arguments went on for 4 or 5 days continuously. And the court did not find anything amusing as to what they said. And hence rejected the writ appeals. And the original order of Justice Swaminathan has been sustained. Now comes the more important point. I am told the grapevine is that the state government is planning for an SLP in the Supreme Court. So they have been thrashed 2 times, but they believe they will have to be thrashed 1 more time. So they are lining up to go to the Supreme Court. Now, what will happen in Supreme Court is anybody's guess. But from a legal standpoint, I can make only one point on this, that the entire judgment of Justice Swaminathan and Justice Jayachandran is seamless and flawless. At this point in time, it is going to be very difficult for somebody to find out why and how to prevent Hindus from lighting a lamp just 1 day in a year for just 2 hours. And I will also tell you one more important point, and this is for Dr. Swami's consumption. The road to the path to the Deepatun, we have to go from the Sannidhi, the ground level, travel up to 450-500 feet up to the hillock. And from there, we arrive at an area called Nallitopu. And from Nallitopu, which belongs to the Mohammedans, and a flight of steps to the Dargah, which belongs to the Mohammedans, we have to go through it, climb a few steps, and then take a right turn back into reach the Deepatun. So we are supposed to transgress a few steps once a year for lighting the Deepatun, to which the learned council of the Waqf board said if the HRNC officials climb those stairs to go to the Deepatun, it will bring Islam into danger, communal harmony will be in danger, secularism is in danger, constitution is in danger, federalism is in danger. All sorts of arguments were put forth in the court. And these are all not hyperbole. These were all statements made by responsible senior advocates representing organizations. And then they also said, the Deepatun area also belongs to us. And then they said, let us sit down peacefully and discuss this matter to arrive at an amicable situation or solution. Now look at it. I take your entire house. I take all the property of yours. I say all these are mine. And then say, look, let us sit down and discuss amicably. What is there to discuss? If they had openly said, yes, we have our own concerns, but we also see the other side seems to have some concerns, then we discuss these two things. I can understand an amicable solution to it. The court saw through this and put down efforts by the other side to even suggest at this late stage for an amicable solution. Lastly, earlier this week, there was a function in the Dargah, which is called Chandanakudu Festival, where again, it seems from what it looks from various reports and the contempt order of Justice Swaminathan, that the Dargah committee has done illegal trespass and has tied certain long flag of the Dargah to the Sthala Vriksham in a sacrilege or I will say desecration of the holy tree of the temple. This is what has been observed, and Justice Swaminathan once again has ordered for an FIR to be filed against criminal trespass. But the police says we are handling it with even kneel. We are absolutely neutral. We do not want to take sides. The administration is so pious in its declaration and so malified in its intention, in its operation. One shudders to think what has come of Tamil Nadu, what has come of Tamil Nadu's state administration, and definitely, as Ramesh very rightly points out, what has come of the Hindu society at large in Tamil Nadu. One really shudders as to what has happened here. Why are we in such stupor? What the same thing that has happened in Sabarimala is happening here, but in a different way. We are using constitutional morality, which has nothing to do in these type of things. We are using Western standards. We think we are born in some European nation, adopting some European standards onto ourselves and judging ourselves and giving away our precious heritage. We need to fight it back. We need to come out of this stupor and we have to fight it back. I only hope that Dr. Swami will lead the fight, bless us, and ensure that this fight is taken to a logical conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. M.R.Venkatesh. Ramesh ji, Ramesh, you want to add anything more? Then we'll have a discussion. Others will join in.
I wanted to point out one good thing, one of the good things rather, that has come out in the judgment of the Honorable Division Bench, where they said that deciding religious questions, the power given to the Joint Commissioner under Section 63, the court declared that going under the section before the Joint Commissioner is totally useless. Even today, when there is some question of something to be decided on a religious matter, or on a hereditary trusteeship, or on whether something is a religious endowment or a secular endowment, it is the Joint Commissioner who is empowered under the Act. The Joint Commissioner is just a servant of the HR&C department who follows the dictates of his super boss, the Minister for Religious Endowments, or the Commissioner. He does not have judicial experience. These kind of things should go to a proper civil court and should be adjudicated there. This provision was challenged in the Swami Dayananda Saraswati Swami case, and a logical finding should have come if the court had taken up the matter. That did not happen. So we are in an urgency to challenge this section, for which a finding has already been given by the court, and other sections. I just wanted to point out that.
Dr. Swami,
Yes.
Swami, could you give your comments or further views in this matter?
Well, the issues have been very clearly stated by these two scholars. But what I would say is that we have a problem in how to get past the issue of getting a result. You see, even if you go to a court, it's going to take you a long time. So we have there has to be some way by which we should think in terms of a political method by which this, it may be the RSS or maybe something else. They all should be mobilized, and they must say that if you talk about Hindus, this is where it has to be done. I don't think this court business is going to be a long-term way of getting anything done on this matter.
I perfectly agree with you, Doctor. I perfectly agree with you, because this is not the way to do it. This is basically a political issue, a constitutional issue, on which we are trying to get some band-aid for cancer treatment. We have to look at a long haul and try to somehow or the other settle it, rather than try to. And the worst part is, let me confess, I am also guilty of this, that we are so satisfied with these Pyrrhic victories of the court giving us allowance once in a year for 2 hours. We are so happy and say, oh God, we have made a great victory. Unfortunate thing is that we have lost even the sense of proportion as to what a victory should be and what should constitute a victory. The definition of victory seems to elude us completely, and we are so happy with these type of small things, that the crumbs that we get. I think that this is basically a political battle, but till we mobilize the political armies on this, and I think we have to somehow or the other keep the game going, and that is where people like Ramesh, the type of selfless work that they do and inspire so many, and of course they have been inspired by people like you, that gives us enormous courage that of course there is some sort of silver lining in the whole game, but somewhere down the line, people have to understand, especially in Delhi, that the Tamil Nadu requirement is totally different. The Tamil Nadu sentiments are totally different. And I don't want to speak wearing my political analyst hat, but definitely I see an inflection point in Tamil Nadu's political fortunes at this point in time, thanks to this Thiruparankundram. And those of you who may not believe in superstition or may believe in superstition, Honorable Chief Minister's car, as it was passing through Thiruparankundram, the tire burst and gave away. So it is not seen as a good sign by many of us. And those of you who may understand Hindi, hawa nikal gaya, pura hawa nikal gaya. So this, I think, is to be taken to a logical conclusion, and people have to necessarily put these things as some sort of a primary electoral issue. And this is a democracy where things have to be fought on the ballot boxes. But unfortunately, Dr. Swami, as Ramesh repeatedly points out, the BJP also believes that the HR and CE department should be in the control of the government. It does not think of freeing, or to be put it even more in a very polite language, none of us seem to have an alternative to HRNC. It's a 800-pound gorilla in the room, but none of us seem to have an answer to ensuring that the gorilla vacates. Once the gorilla vacates, what if? Who will manage the temples? But this, I think, the British also asked us, who will manage the country if we vacate the place? And I think the answer would be that we will manage. The Hindu society is resilient. The Hindu society can, of course, with some guidance from the state, as
M.R.V.
sort of an arbiter.
M.R.V. I beg to differ here.
Yes.
In the first place, the management by HRNC in the temples is not just unconstitutional. It is only by fraud. The Act nowhere gives an indication that the government servants should come and control the temple or administer the temple. The scheme
But
of the
even the
act is
trustees,
it should be by the
that
trustees. So
trustees.
for two generations, they have not done that. So we forgot what is there in the act itself. The act
Correct.
says governance by trustees. And with a 10-foot pole, maybe the government can regulate by keeping
Yes.
away and supervision. So who will manage if the HRNC goes away is not the question. How soon we drive this and kick out these frauds from our temples legally is the question. And this can be done, as I said before, with one stroke of the pen by the central government. They can amend the 1920 Act. They can say no religious institution can be taken over without proving serious mismanagement, and it can be taken over for only a brief period. The RBI takes over banks which are mismanaged for a brief period. The company law board replaces directors for a brief period. While these all non-religious bodies can be regulated like this, big corporations having hundreds of crores of rupees can be regulated like this. Why temple should be controlled endlessly by the government, who have only political agenda of uh, destroying our temples religiously, culturally, and as per and for the heritage importance they have, they're destroying it. We need to kick out the HRC department legally, lock, stock, and barrel. We need not worry about who will administer because we will administer.
TK
I agree with you.
Swaminathan.
I agree with you, Ramesh, on this. The very genetic makeup of the HRNC Act is by the trustees, for the trustees of the trustees. But the trustees, unfortunately, have been diluted and they have been brought in only as those who are party lackeys and hold complete subservience to the powers that be. And that is how the dilution has come to such a state that today in Thiruparakundram, the trustees are absent. The trustees don't hold any position on whether the lamp should be lit or not. How can the trustees run away? They are abdicated. They are no longer there. It is so dangerous that the act itself has been dynamited from within. That no longer it is in the hands of the trustees, and the sole EO, executive officer, appointed by the government, runs the entire temple. And the trustees are nowhere to be seen. They don't sign. They are not seen in any place except on important festivals. They come and swoop on the temple to take the first rites of, go and visit the deity and take the darshan. Or if some VIP comes in, and they escort them to the sanctum sanctorum. That's the only thing that the trustees do. And the administration of the temple, unfortunately, directly and indirectly has fallen into the lap of the EO. That, I think, is what is agitating the collective minds of Ramesh and people like him. And I think the legal solution is, yes, the act is very clear. Even if they implement the HRNC Act as it stands today, much of the temple will be revived, provided the trustees act as trustees. But if the trustees don't act as trustees and there is a complete breach of trust, instead of invoking 406 on them, what the government does is to sneak into the temples and start looting the temples. That is the biggest challenge we have.
MRV, one more thing. The provision that allows government to appoint trustees should be taken away, should be challenged and shown to be unconstitutional.
Mr. TK Swaminathan, who's from Tamil Nadu, who's part of our VHS team, I would like him to make some comments before Arvind Chaturvedi and Mr. Ramesh Swami comes in.
Thank you, sir. After listening, I believe it's a civilization that's on trial, not a one particular temple. And we have seen patterns of this across India, starting from Tamil Nadu. We have seen in Uttarakhand, we have seen in Pandharpur, we have seen in many other states. That brings us the question. I believe, like taking cue from what MRV and TR Ramesh says, corporation have rights, river have rights. So in the case of temple, I believe a deity is a juristic person. So a deity have certain rights in terms of its management. In such cases, how do we take these deity rights and work into a secular state? Because what we see is secularism is supposed to keep faith out of the state, but it brings faith under the state. That becomes a difficult problem for us in the name of secularism. What rights does deity have, and how can a deity express its rights apart from expressing it via a public interest litigation? And where does the rights of deity stand in this whole matter? If any of us can throw and enlighten us, that will be greatly helpful.
MRV, you want to make a comment on this?
No, let Ramesh make it. It's a very easy question. Let Ramesh make it.
Okay. If you see the policy note of the HRC department each year, they clearly mention that each temple is a separate entity and a juristic person, and the deity is the owner of such temples. That is there in their policy note itself, coming year after year. But as MRV pointed out, the way they act, the declaration is pious, but their action is devilish. So we need to force the honorable courts to declare the illegality of not just one temple like Sabanagar temple, not just one temple where they continue even after court has declared the Payani Dandayadamani Summit temple. We need to get the court declare that any presence of executive officer over 3 years is illegal and detrimental to the temple and detrimental to the fundamental rights of the Hindus under Article 25, 26, 29(1) and 31A 1B. We need to get a very limited petition filed and get this declared. We will take Dr. Swami's advice on this. I and MRV will work towards this. Besides challenging the entire act, we need a declaration. We need to file a writ of declaration.
Ramesh Swami, you want to raise some questions or have a comment? Then
Yes,
we'll
sir.
have Professor Vinchan.
Yes, I have only one question. So we have the 2014 judgment of the Supreme Court with the Subramania Swami and Sabanagar temple. Why do we have to keep on reminding the court that this judgment is there? It is illegal for these people to. Why don't you kick them out? Why does the court have to be reminded of their own judgment? Time and again, why cannot be? It is clearly made it very clear, right? So my question is, why do the court have to be reminded of this time and again?
It's not just reminded. We are asking them to act upon it. They are silently refusing. They are turning the other side. The courts are complicit of contempt of their own judgments.
One important thing, Ramesh, you must understand that the biggest challenge is to determine what is a denominational temple and what is not. In fact, I and Mr. T.R. Ramesh enter into arguments that goes on for days together as to what would constitute denomination, what would not, notwithstanding the fact there are scholarly judgments on this for time immemorial. But to make that applicable in the context of each and every temple. Now we have got 38,000, 40,000 temples in Tamil Nadu. Sabanagar temple is declared to be a denominational temple. And for what reason? The same Lord Shiva in Madurai is declared to be a non-denominational temple. Now, Shiva in Chidambaram is denominational. Shiva in Madurai is non-denominational. Lord Tirupati, the entire Vaishnavite are declared to be denominational. Fair enough. But every single Vaishnavite temple is held to be a non-denominational. How is it possible unless you don't have a clear-cut definition of denomination? In fact, thanks to Ramesh, in my new book, I have dealt exclusively on this chapter, in one chapter on denomination, which is a borrowed term from the European continent and has been smuggled into our constitution. And Ramesh has done some phenomenal work where Article 394A in the Hindi translation of denomination uses the word sampradaya, which in Tamil would be translated to as Paraka Varakam, is suddenly turned as denomination in English. English language is so funny and so limited in our context that you cannot expand it. And so we try to compress our civilizational moorings to make the context and the language relevant. That is the problem of English language, especially when we deal with civilizational issues. Ramesh, you want to add something on this?
The term religious denomination is given as every religious denomination is given as Pratyek Dharmik Sampradaya, and section thereof is given as Ya Kisi Anubad in Article 26. If I as a sect or as a denomination approach the court and say, I am a religious Dharmik Sampradaya, clothe me with the protection that Article 26 offers, the court cannot say, no, I will not do it. I will go to the 1896 definition in the Oxford Dictionary, which the Supreme Court used only a part of it. We will cling on to the judgment. The court cannot say, especially after the 1987 amendment of the Constitution with reference to Article 394A.
So, Dr. Swami, I have a last question for Dr. Swami. So, Dr. Swami, I think you've time and again told, why can't there be I think Dr. Swami's thing is frozen. Anyway.
Yeah, the picture is not.
Okay, that's fine, Dr. Swami. So you're able to hear me, right? So anyway.
Yes, I hear you clearly.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So the question is, what can the government do in terms of, can they pass a single, I think Ramesh also alluded, T.R. Ramesh also alluded to this. So what can the central government do? Does it need to pass a thing in parliament, or can they pass a single line ordinance or something that abolishes HRMP completely?
Absolutely. You don't need parliament for this. The question is, who's going to pick it up? Who they everybody's a secular one, whether he's in BJP or he's not in BJP, they're all secular.
But why is it secular only for Hindus and not the others, Dr. Swami?
They are minorities. That's why. It's a long question. So let's not expand. We have come quite a distance in understanding what we are, what fix we are in. Maybe we should have another session on this issue. What next steps we should take?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, we need to deliberate on the action plan.
Yeah, that's right.
Professor Arvind Chaturvedi, you want any?
Yeah, make a comment and we can.
Yeah. Thank you, Jagdish. I joined very late because of some technical problem. I agree with most of the speakers, whatever they have said. Swaminathan raised the question of that it's not question of one temple, but many temples, including in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, UP, and Maharashtra. Dr. Swami has been fighting for this cause against BJP, his own party, but BJP has not been able to provide the solution. My question is, because I have a lot of confusion in my mind, while I agree with the speakers, T.R. Ramesh and M.R.V. also, my question is, Dr. Swami, if the government does not allow takeover of the temple and does not appoint, like he said, T.R. Ramesh said that 1920 Act can be just demolished with a single order, who will appoint the authorities, the trustees of a temple? We have an example of Ayodhya, where Nrpendra Mishra is heading the trust, and he was the chief secretary when the bullets were fired on the Karsevaks in Ayodhya.
Yes.
This is an example of management when the government appoints. Now, we do not have a pope like Christianity. We have Shankaracharyas, and even Shankaracharyas are disputed. So there is no supreme Hindu body which can decide that this will be the structure, and these will be the people, these will be the organization structure, pyramid, whatever. How will the temples be managed? Number one. Number two, if the government, you have Somnath temple, for example. Somnath, Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself is heading that temple. And though he is celebrating 1000 years of Somnath. But what is happening in his own government, under his own thumb, in state government, the BJP is the ruling party taking over temples. Thiruparakundram could be just one example. But I am on a much bigger question. Dr. Swami, please provide me, if you have a solution, about the structure, Hindu structure and Hindu organization structure, as to who will appoint whom to take over the.
Yeah, I understand the dilemma. Go ahead.
So, is there any solution?
Answer. Ramesh, can you answer that question? What Darwinji asked?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Sure. You have to think global and act local. Shankaracharya may be, that is one particular Shankaracharya may be relevant in one particular area. But there are agamic temples, there are Vedic temples, there are non-agamic, non-Vedic temples, which is the maximum in Tamil Nadu, for example. Out of the 44,000 temples under the HRNC, only 6,000 temples are agamic temples. The other temples are places of Hindu worship, where the Brahmins are not officiating as priests. The various castes, including fishermen, including Dalits, including Tevar, Chettiars, they are officiating as priests.
No, but they are all Hindus, sir. Whether they are Chettiars or they are non-Brahmins, but they are Hindus.
They are Hindus, but you cannot bring them as one umbrella like RSS would like to do. It is not a Catholic thing here. The different temples, the different forms of worship, their history, they are all being taken into account. So we need a collective body of pious
So
Hindus.
again, we go back to that sampradaya, what you said.
No.
So it is the sampradaya leaders who will decide.
For appointing the trustees, for example, take the mutts of Saivism, take the mutts of Vaishnavism, take the Shankaracharya mutt in Tamil Nadu, take the true representatives of certain communities, and define the qualifications of a trustees in a very rigid manner like the Cholas did. Then Dr. Swami had given a written arguments in the Travancore Devaswam case, who can be appointed as trustees.
Yes.
It is a lengthy list, but very, very detailed, and it eliminates 90% of the fellows who should not be there at all. Then you have to choose from the 10%, the task becomes easier. This is no easy solution or one solution for everything. For Kerala, it will be different. For Tamil Nadu, it will be different. But the most important aspect is they should be genuine practicing Hindus chosen by people of erudition and tapas, and for a particular period, and they cannot become.
There has to be a proposal, sir, from the common Hindu side. There should be a proposal to the government that don't do this, do this. Now, when we say do this, there has to be a very proper paper, which you said different from Kerala, different from non-Hindu, different from Brahmins, different from Tamil Nadu. Whatever. Has anybody prepared? Has anybody gone into preparation of such a document which can be presented to the government?
Somebody has initiated, and that is Dr. Swami, who said we need to plan the next step. He just said it now 10 minutes ago. We need to put things into action. We cannot be simply seen talking. Let's get into a close a meeting of VHS first. Then we'll expand the meeting to people who think alike.
So let there be a task force. Let there be a task force to prepare this kind of document or this kind of charter, which can be presented then to the government.
People. We should not allow the false Hindutva people who said they will release temples and they never did in 11 years.
Yeah. On that point, I think everybody will agree.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, temples also constitute property. Property means money. So there has to be some kind of dispute or disbelief or some kind of distrust among the trustees also. In such a situation, how can things be taken care of? Even those should be part of the charter.
Professor G, there are 5 things by which our temples are mismanaged. One is the interferences in the religious matters by the government with a hidden agenda or open agenda. Number 2, the non-protection of the immovable properties of the temples and non-realization of the due income from them. This is very important. If we get the due income from our Hindu temple properties, we can give the missionaries a run for their money. Number 3, rank corruption and inefficiency in the day-to-day management. Number 4, the non-protection of the heritage and antiquities of the ancient temples. That is very, very important because it is culturally and even otherwise it's very important for the Hindus that the temples are maintained as they were. The structures are very, very sacred. 5th, we need a very robust audit system. Today, the temple management is administered by the HRNC and audited by the HRNC. And from 1986, 1.8 million audit objections remain unresolved, unrectified in Tamil Nadu. And no court has questioned this. So we need to see this broadly as 5 aspects of temple administration and put in a system in place for these 5 different systems. See, if we take out the 4 or 5 fangs of the total 6 fangs of the snake, we would have achieved something very big. And these temples will now start paying the society or benefiting the society in a very large manner. And we failed in the last 70 years in institutional building, which the Christians succeeded and keep succeeding. Even the Muslims have started building a lot of institutions with so much land in hand and so much revenue in the temples. We need to build a lot of institutions, educational, medical, colleges, goshalas, vaidyashalas, skill, craftsmanship, everything. We need to put
one last question to all the panelists, all the experts here, Dr. Swami, MRV, and also Mr. Ramesh, T.R. Ramesh. Muslims have Waqf board to manage their property. Of course, that the structure of the Waqf board has been challenged in the parliament, and new bill has been brought in, all that, which is also controversial. Can Hindus have, Sanatanis have a board which can manage all the temples and the property for the welfare of the Hindus?
Hindus won't be bored, they will be very interested, but that's not a right solution. It'll be a Vatican solution which will go against the Hindu interest.
Because if you capture the board, automatically you will capture everything. So this popization of the Hindu thought, that is what I and Ramesh are constantly talking about. The Catholicization of the Hindu ideas. So unfortunately, all of us are more than 51% Christians. So we are always thinking about solutions that is state-driven or driven through with the support of the state. Now look at Waqf board. You don't ask Waqf board as to how they manage with so many Waqf boards across the state, across this country, and how they manage the property. And why is it that they don't have any problem? Do you think that there is no caste and communitarian issues within Islam or within Christianity? There is. They are of the same stock. So they definitely will be having the same set of problems. But once it is a Hindu problem, it always becomes a national problem. And state tries to interfere in that. That is what we need to stop it. We will have problems, sir. In your family, there will be problem. In my family, there is problem. We can't immediately ask a joint secretary to intercede and say that he will provide a solution.
So Ramesh, I just want to bring in something. I mean, what Arvind said, that we need somebody to, and you mentioned also that sadly the leaders that were supposed to solve this problem for the past 11 years did not. The problem is we thought it was a leader, but unfortunately it turned out to be a non-biological person directly sent by God. So we have to wait for a biological person to solve the problem. We cannot have a non-biological person sent by God directly to solve the problem, unfortunately.
No, without leaders, Hindus will be only pleaders.
That is continuing right now, right, Ramesh? That is the situation even today, right?
Arvind, I think
I think today's program, though I missed initial 10 minutes, but must have been a very rich discussion, even in those 10 minutes, what I gather from the remaining part where I joined. It was indeed a great contribution by three experts here today. Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, who is known fighter for the cause of temples, for the cause of Hindutva. His life is gone into this. Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for being with this on this program, and M.R. Venkatesh, who is not only a chartered accountant, a lawyer, and a real fighter, along with Mr. T.R. Ramesh, whose name symbolizes the fight for the Hindu temples. All the three experts are really contributed much, and I think something is emerging on this topic, this very big issue for the Hindus. I think after this program, maybe as it pointed out by Mr. T.R. Ramesh, that Dr. Swamy has already began formulating a charter or formulating a document which will govern and how to govern the temples. And this kind of document, once prepared, can be given to the government. There could be academic discussion, there could be a discussion among the religious people, and then it can be followed. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ramesh Swamy. Thank you, Jagdish Shetty. Thank T.K. Swaminathan, Tejas Navalgul, Ashish Shetty, who has organized this technical setup for Words of Wisdom Gyan Ganga for more than 4 years. Gadgi Rakesh, Ishwar Iyer, Ajesh Nair, and Gurdat Shetty, who have been contributing behind the scene. Thank you all for being with us. Thank you, viewers. We'll be continuing this program, and as you know, we revived only last Sunday, and now we'll continue every Sunday, 8 p.m. Join us in next Sunday again. We'll be with you with Dr. Subramaniam Swamy and a new topic. Till then, viewers, Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Shri
Jai
Ram.
Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Shri Ram.